School is often the busiest time of our young lives, and whether you're in high school, college, or university, we've all gone through the universal experience of sitting through lectures all day, cramming assignments in between classes, working your butt off, being locked in at a coffee shop, or being stuck at school late in the night working on projects. And other than our phone, the most important tool at our disposal that we almost use on a daily basis is our laptop. And as a tech creator, a common question I always get asked is, Vincent, should I get a 14-inch or a 16-inch laptop? And honestly, there are definitely pros and cons of both. And now that I just so happen to be testing a cool, powerful, but not gamery hybrid of a laptop from MSI called the VenturePro 16, I'll be using this as an example to explain what life is like with a bigger laptop and try to help you guys make a decision on if you guys should go bigger. The first and biggest reason why you would choose a bigger laptop is for the large screen, like this gorgeous OLED panel on the MSI, and doing so lets you have a much better split screen productivity experience compared to smaller laptops, where it usually feels very cramped to have windows open side by side. Some examples include when you're doing research and want to scroll through websites and articles while taking notes or writing your paper, organizing your Notion page or your agenda while plotting down tasks and calendar events or work sessions, joining video calls or group projects while working on assignments or taking notes, or even something as simple as having a video in the background while you try and cram through your work. And let me tell you, it's genuinely a much better experience on a bigger screen, which feels like you're not limited by the actual screen size. And especially with laptops like this one, a 16:10 aspect ratio for the screen, which is much taller, is actually quite useful. And even for doing focused work in only one application at a time, like editing PowerPoint or working on posters, or even some photo and video editing on the side if that's something you do, I feel like having that extra screen so that menus and sidebars and tools don't dig into the actual space where your artwork, videos, or PowerPoints are removes a lot of frustration as well from things like always having to hide sidebars and tools on smaller screens. And while I'm on the topic of creative work, especially for you guys, having a large screen that looks fantastic like this OLED screen, which also has a 2K resolution, which is super sharp, and also being color accurate, in which you should always find a laptop that says 100% DCI-P3 coverage like this laptop, is actually super crucial, so you guys can make sure that your colors are accurate and you're seeing a true to life image. Oh, and just some fun stuff, this laptop screen can actually lie flat as well, which is actually pretty sick, and it does have a 120Hz refresh rate screen, which is a bonus and not a necessity, but just means that everything from scrolling to navigating the display is buttery smooth. Oh, and lastly, while shopping for a laptop, I think staying away from low brightness screens and going for more premium options with brighter screens like this laptop that can go up to 600 nits of peak brightness is actually quite important for working on the go, as well as you want to be able to actually see your screen in a sunny environment like coffee shops during the day. Watching content on a big bright panel is also an awesome experience, not to mention, just like the bigger and better speakers you'll usually get on bigger laptops, although the speakers on this laptop aren't crazy or anything, but they do get decently loud. I do have to point out that I really do like the privacy shutter on the top of the display as well, as it covers the webcam. And if you're wondering how it looks like and how it sounds, this is it. And I really do like the fact that this comes with a spatial array of microphones with the option of turning on noise cancellation in the settings, which is pretty cool. But screen out of the way, the one big trade-off you have to give up is the portability, which actually is not too big of a deal nowadays, as manufacturers have slimmed down on the bezels on the screen quite a bit compared to a couple of years ago, which makes the overall size of the laptop more compact. And for example, this laptop does fit in the 13-inch laptop compartment of my backpack, although just barely, but you get the point. And this one's not even that heavy at all, being at 4.2 pounds, so it doesn't feel like you're carrying a brick compared to back in the days where 15 and 16-inch laptops were literally like 6-7 pounds. That was by accident, I swear. That's pretty crazy too, considering the fact that this laptop isn't even made from plastic like the old days and has a full metal build that not only feels good, but super durable too, so you don't have to baby this. And this specific laptop is actually military grade tested for durability as well, which is just sick. And with the more compact size of 16-inch laptops nowadays, you won't actually stick out like a sore thumb anymore when working in coffee shops, for example, and it's even quite usable on something like a bus where space is often limited. And speaking of limited space, something I really miss and appreciate from bigger laptops is the inclusion of a full number pad. If any of you guys are in business or finance or even more math-based majors like engineering or any of the sciences, having an actual number pad when you're constantly crunching numbers is actually just a major life improvement over inputting numbers from the number row near the top of the keyboard, which does get quite annoying sometimes. One thing you actually have to be cautious though about when shopping for laptops with number pads is that the layout of the actual keyboard section should not be weird, and I'm talking especially about the enter, the backspace, and the right shift keys, which will actually ruin your typing if it's not laid out correctly. Luckily for us, the MSI laptop does do actually a great job making sure the layout is proper, and I actually find that because the laptop is larger, it can actually accommodate deeper keys, like with a 1.7mm travel distance in this one. And man, oh man, oh man, if you love typing, it is a huge bonus compared to thinner switches on smaller laptops, and just having that tactile, clicky feel while banging out essays and lab reports feels super satisfying and really helps you achieve that flow state, if you know what I mean. You usually also get bigger touchpads too, which are more convenient, although some people do prefer to use a mouse, and that leads me to the next bonus of having a bigger laptop, which is a lot more port selection because there's just more space, which means you don't have to buy or carry a dongle with you. Using this laptop as an example, you get a full-size HDMI 2.1 port, which is rare these days, and it's pretty useful for connecting to external monitors, especially if you're at school and need to present, and you actually do get an actual Ethernet port for direct connection into the router too, which is useful if you live in a dorm. And you even get 2 USB-A ports for your peripherals that you want to connect to, not to mention a USB-C port as well, which is mandatory. And just a fun fact I found while using this laptop, you can actually go into the MSI Center and enable USB power share, which means that you can actually charge devices like your phone or headphones while the laptop is off or in sleep mode, which is pretty neat. And speaking of power, bigger laptops also come with bigger batteries that may or may not give you more battery life compared to the smaller counterparts of your laptop, but it is also worth looking into depending on how often you're using your laptop away from an outlet or away from your house, in which having a laptop like this one with a power delivery capable USB-C port does allow you to use like a beefy fast power bank to charge this on a go at up to 100 watts, which is very handy instead of having to bring around your power brick, which is quite annoying for sure. I also like how this laptop specifically has an AI engine which automatically adjusts hardware settings to, balance your performance and the battery life, and even a battery boost toggle to turn off the discrete GPU in this, and a display power saver to lower your refresh rate to squeeze out every last drop of this battery. And finally, about performance. It's not surprising that if you want more powerful laptops, larger laptops are usually going to have more powerful components, not to mention the actual cooling power and pipes to adequately cool these chips properly without throttling, in which I do like how thick the rubber feet are on this laptop to basically raise it higher on the table for more breathing room, not to mention big side vents, which again are thanks to the bigger laptop design for more space. And with my spec over here, I have an Intel Core 9 processor 270H, which is crazy fast for productivity work and honestly quite overkill, so going with an Intel Core 7 is already good enough. But regardless, we're gonna talk about it, and this Core 9 has 14 cores, and if you need the power, and I'm talking about like engineers or scientists who need to run complex simulations or code, or creative art people who want to do 3D modeling and animation, or serious video editing like I need, this chip is especially great for that. And as for graphics, this laptop has a discrete graphics card with the latest NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060 laptop GPU. Now, whether or not you actually need one depends on your workflow and what you want to achieve with the laptop, but it is nice to have if you want to do some light gaming on the side too. I was actually at the live keynote event during CES in Vegas as well, so I actually got to learn a lot about the improvements of the new 50 series of graphics cards, and I would love to explain to those of you guys who are unfamiliar right now, although feel free to skip this section if you don't care about gaming or graphics cards. So first is DLSS 4 and its use of AI to generate fake frames, which has been so controversial, but honestly speaking, after seeing it live in person of demos and spending time with the actual graphics cards, it's honestly quite impressive and hard to tell a difference, in which it's only gonna get better as the tech progresses. But the main point is DLSS 4 can now generate up to 3 additional frames per traditionally rendered frame compared to the singular one from DLSS 3, which significantly increases frame rates even if ray tracing turned on. And if you want a deeper dive, my close friend John actually has an amazing video about this with real hands-on time at the NVIDIA's booth in CES, so check that out. Anyways, another feature is the updated NVIDIA Reflex 2, which reduces the latency of your mouse inputs and movements by up to 75%, which would be really good for competitive gaming, and especially for those of you guys who want to play FPS shooters, because how it works is by updating a rendered frame based on your latest mouse input right before it's sent to the display. But for creators like me who don't game a lot, the updated 5th generation Tensor cores is where it's truly at for all its massive AI performance boosts and generative AI capabilities. That means for DaVinci Resolve, which is my editing software of choice, I get blazing fast performance in like AI tools like AI masking, AI smart reframing, AI voice isolation, and stuff like AI IntelliScript, which generates a timeline for me based on my script, which is very, very handy, and I've been enjoying quite a lot. And obviously with this AI power, this also translates into any other workflow for whichever task you need it, so there are just so many uses for this. But yeah, that's about it for all I have to say with my experience living with a 16-inch laptop. And circling back to the original question, is a 16-inch laptop too big for school? I don't think so at all anymore with how compact and lightweight these laptops are getting, not to mention with all the bonuses you get with productivity thanks to that big screen and stuff like extra performance. That being said, despite all these positives, it doesn't mean that getting a bigger laptop is the more correct choice, because smaller laptops do have their charm too, like being easier to carry around and it's lighter, and often being cheaper for your wallet as well than bigger laptops. Another perspective you can look at with smaller screens is that it forces you to be more intentional with what you're actually doing on your laptop, making you choose not to multitask or get distracted easily like I do, and focus on one thing at a time on your screen, which can be a plus for a lot of people as well. So ultimately, the decision is down to what fits you and your workflow, and even for me, I'm still debating heavily on what I should go for my next laptop, as I see the pros and cons for both sizes. But yeah, I hope this video helped you guys out and gave you some insights, and feel free to leave any questions down below for me as well, and I'll try my best to get back to you. And oh, if you do want to check out the MSI VenturePro 16, which I use as an example for this video, I'll leave the product links down below in the description and pinned comments, in which thank you so much MSI Canada for kindly sponsoring this video and providing me with this review unit. But yeah, that marks the end of this review, and if you're still here, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to leave a sunglasses emoji down below so I know you're a real one. And as always, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button as well, and check out the other awesome content on my channel. And on that note, have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And oh my god, my mouth is gone. Whew.